The San Francisco International Film Festival begins on April 17th with over 150 movies from 50 countries. Here to talk about the festival is the Executive Director, Annie Lai, and the Director of Programming, Jesse Fairbanks. This year, back to 11 days, and with the incredible movie for the opening night, Rebuilding, with one of the, I'm a huge fan of Josh O'Connor. I think he was fantastic playing Prince Charles. So talk to me about the 11 days.
So last year, thank you for having us here. Last year we experimented with 5 days. We were trying out a new footprint and we were trying to prioritize an experience for the filmmakers that were coming to be here, and we were trying to prioritize an experience for the audiences. And part of that was, can we be in a space where they might be able to run around from theater to theater, from space to space, and be able to see as many films as they might like. We want to be able to encourage that to happen. And so one of the wonderful things that came out of that experiment of 5 days is like, great, the new footprint in the Presidio and the Marina worked very, very well. And we didn't have enough seats, we didn't have enough movies. We had 94% average capacity, which is nuts. Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful problem, but it was also like, I think there's more that we can be offering. So we're back to the 11 days. It feels good. It's sort of like letting your belt buckle out and having a little bit more space to have the appetite that I think that we do have. And it was exciting to know that we had audiences that were going to come to that. I'll let Jesse talk a little bit about Rebuilding. What I will say is, yes, Prince Charles, but also, I don't remember his character name from The Challengers, but I loved him in that. And I just think that Josh O'Connor delivers such a special performance in this film. It's quiet, it's beautiful. The filmmaker, Max Walker-Silverman, is actually also someone that we supported on the very first film he made through one of our artist development programs. Yeah, so it's sort of a little bit, sometimes it feels like it can be a homecoming when we've supported a filmmaker or a project at a different stage, and then we're able to present it at the festival. Feels like very, very satisfying.
When you say helping, in his case, supporting the filmmaker, yes, financially speaking.
So in this case, this program was about helping him try to find some funders to help literally make the movie. Uh-huh. So it was about doing some matchmaking, introducing him to some potential funders, to some potential producers. He actually met one of his key producers through that program as well, who wasn't a financial producer, but was a creative producer. And so met him through that process. And it was nice to see that that can happen in an environment where then they make the film, they went off, they made the first film, it's a wonderful film. Yeah. And then now he's got some momentum in making his second film.
Oh, that's incredible. I'm a huge fan of, as I say, Josh O'Connor. He's a fantastic actor. So 150 movies. Mm-hmm. So did you watch all of them?
I have. Our team goes through a very long process. We kind of start right when the festival ends, and we immediately dive into doing research and to reviewing films. We open our submissions in the summer, and we get about 4,500 to 5,000 submissions every year. And then, of course, we're working with filmmakers, producers, rights holders, and studios as well. So all in, we look at over 5,000 titles, and then from that, it's a big group of us. We have 100 screening committee members from all around the world that help us, and then there's a team of 7 of us that are the core curators, and we work together for several months.
It's the beginning of the year. Yeah. Lined up for thinking ahead of Oscars, the next Oscars. Mm-hmm. So do you have any specials?
Ooh, such a good
Put you in a spot.
We do require California premieres for any feature film in competition and for our marquee and for our opening, centerpiece, and closing. But we're motivated by merit mostly. So it's wonderful, the fact that we have 11 world premieres and 10 international premieres and 10 North American premieres, and the list goes on from there.
And how the festival can help San Francisco filmmakers to grow? Because you just mentioned you support some, not only financially, but through connections as well.
Yeah. Well, I think the festival, through its legacy, through its time, is the largest spotlight we can be putting on any of our programmatic work. So it is this wonderful large funnel where we are bringing filmmakers from around the world, from around the region, from around the country, and trying to bring everyone collectively together into a space with our audiences. In terms of how we then try to, there's a few different ways. We actually have a really wonderful spotlight on Bay Area films. So the filmmakers that have films in the festival themselves, or profiling stories that are from here or highlighting stories that are here, that sort of happens just naturally. We happen to be in a very film-rich environment in terms of a history of wonderful filmmaking that happens here in the Bay Area, but also a lot of new and up-and-coming filmmakers. So throughout the year, whether it's through our artist development program, through our education program, a youth camp, and there's a filmmaker that discovers like, oh, they know how to do this, they like working with a camera, and they eventually find a path for being able to create work, it can kind of become full circle and then be able to bring something back here and to be able to show it. And so the ways in which we can try to support them is through, maybe it's a workshop, maybe it's a class, it might be a film house residency that we do, it might be a little bit of funding through our granting program, it might be connections. And so what can happen probably at its most, in its biggest display during the festival, is all of those things can collide at the same time and be this wonderful cauldron of energy and creativity and connectivity, which is what
That's what it's
should be
about.
about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could I build on that?
Please,
Also,
yeah.
our closing night film Outerlands was actually developed as part of one of these programs that Anne is mentioning through our artist development program with a grant. And Elena Oxman worked on the script and workshopped it in our building. And now the film Outerlands, which stars Asia Kate Dillon, is our closing night film. It was shot here with a local crew, mostly in Outer Richmond and Outer Sunset, which is where I live. So I was very happy to see my neighborhood. But it's such a full circle moment, right? And that shows really what SF Film is doing year-round as an organization, the breadth of what we're able to offer. So an artist came in, received a lot of support, made some connections, went out, made a beautiful film, and now it's closing out the festival with a hometown screening. And that, I think, is what really gets us excited, and it's an opportunity to showcase so much of what we do.
Yeah, and Elena's also a seasoned filmmaker. She's a teacher. She will often mentor other kinds of filmmakers as well. And so there's something really wonderful about that, which is the spirit of generosity that a lot of the filmmakers here traffic in.
So what is the most fun part of your job? Is it going to those festivals like Cannes or Sundance? Or
I mean, obviously very lucky to be...
I can be your assistant next
Yeah,
time.
no, I mean, it sounds so glamorous, like try to cram in 5 films a day when you're jet lagged and 20 meetings, but I am very lucky that my job is to watch films and incredibly fortunate for that. I would say, you know, it's a mix between like really watching the lights go down on someone that's having their world premiere or having their first hometown screening and just seeing an audience respond to that. We've talked about this a lot, but Sean Wong came through our program as a shorts filmmaker that we were taking a look at and that we were profiling his work. He then went through the Invest program. Sorry, not the Invest program. He came to our festival and he met at our Industry Day conference a producer who would go on to help him develop Dee Dee, and then Dee Dee was our opening night film last year that also received grants and support from the organization. So that's another beautiful full circle moment. And so then you see Sean go on and become Oscar nominated. And obviously we have a huge sense of pride, when artists continue to do well. And this year we're honoring the Roxy, which is the longest running independent film house in the Bay Area. And the film that we are showing is Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon. And so the fact that he was with us, celebrated as an artist, 68 years ago, and now we're showing some of his work on 4K with the partner at the Roxy. I love those moments that are just serendipitous and that come out and that speak to kind of the international footprint we have as well. I think one of the most amazing parts of this job, which then does translate to our audience, is that I can start my day with a issue-oriented documentary in the US, and then I can move on to Mongolia and watch a hybrid film about herding in the plains, and then I can move into Colombia and watch a riveting new feature film from an emerging young female filmmaker who doesn't get a whole lot of support in Colombia, and then I can end my day in space in some Afrofuturism sci-fi thriller, and it's produced in Kenya. Like, you just have no idea what kind of trip you're going to take.
Yeah. You like to travel.
Yes, I do. As much as I can without moving.
Exactly.
And I think audiences get to do that as well, because we do have, as you mentioned, 50 different countries represented at the festival this year. And I believe you have a strong Brazilian contingent that follows the show. And if I could, I would love to mention 2 titles from Brazil.
Please.
So we have one film called Manas, and it is about a young girl who lives deep in the Amazon forest, and she's dealing with trauma and violence at home, but the way that the filmmaker chose to express her interiority is with a lot of really beautiful dreamlike sequences and lyrics that pull on the inspiration from the Amazon forest. So while it is of serious content, it is just stunning to watch. And the other film I would like to mention is The Best Mother in the World. And this is about an Afro-Brazilian woman who is also facing violence and trauma in her home and is forced to take to the streets with her 2 young children. And so as she is trying to balance, how to take care of her kids and how to survive in this really challenging circumstance while still being pursued by her partner who she has a lot of affection for, even though it's a toxic relationship, she has to make the adventure fun for her children. And the way in which the story and the character do that, and the way the filmmaker chose to portray what could be a very harrowing experience, but instead is finding the levity and the endless just reserves that parents call upon when it comes to their children to help them see the world through a different lens and to find the joy when it feels like there might be none at hand. It's a very inspirational film. So Manas and Best Mother in the World, and we have other films that are co-productions with Brazil, but I wanted to highlight those 2 for you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing those 2 with the Brazilian community is huge. So do you have any idea how the festival helps the city economically speaking?
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it is bringing people in. We can be just the best advocate for this is why you want to come here. Culturally, it's why you want to come here because you're going to be so warmly taken care of and welcomed. You can eat amazing food. You can see wonderful films. We're also very lucky that the theaters that we are in also are of just a very high level, and so the experience for the filmmakers is very good. So part of it is just opening the doors and welcoming people in.
So you mentioned transportation.
Yes.
Food.
Yes.
Not to say hotels.
Yes.
Or accommodations,
very
right?
Several
So
stars.
there's some way the festival helps financially the city to give a boost.
Absolutely, and
right?
we're also throwing a lot of parties and events as well. So, renting out a space, our opening night parties in Fort Mason at this wonderful space called Gallery 308. All the catering, all the staff that will be hired to be able to do that. Again, what we want to be able to do is taking advantage, what are all the resources that we have and how do we show off all of the different diaspora points of view, different food, different people, and do it in a way that feels very just fun and enjoyable.
We have our first ever partnership with Sundown Cinema at the Parks Alliance, and we'll be launching their 2025 season with an outdoor screening on Friday, April 25th. We have a special retrospective called The Horror this year, and part of that includes a film by John Carpenter called The Fog, and that is what our outdoor screening is going to be. The film was actually shot in Bolinas and in Bodega Bay, and if it's foggy on April 25th, we'll sit in the fog and scream together. It's going to be wonderful. We hope you can come.
I will, because I love watch horror movies, not by myself.
Yes.
Because then it becomes a comedy.
This is a communal experience. It is a classic. It's free. You have to RSVP, but it's free. And what we want to happen is to be able to bring everybody together, bundle up, and then maybe we might have a little bit of fog as well.
If it's beautiful weather, it's great. If it's foggy, it's on par. It's very on theme. And then we have 5 other films that we're showing as part of that retrospective for anyone who might want to scream in the dark inside together throughout the festival.
Oh, that's wonderful. So the festival runs from April 17th to the 27th. More information you can find right here, sffilm.org. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
When is our next trip?
Thank you.
When are we going together? You and I should plan. I really want to go to Morelia. What are you doing in June?
Free.
Good. Let's go.
Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.